Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 1 week, on June 1st, the country and the world is going to witness something that we have never seen before. There will be an office in the United States Treasury, less than a mile from here, in which a group of people will decide, are we going to pay the soldier deployed in Syria to combat ISIS, or are we going to send out Social Security checks? Are we going to pay air traffic controllers, or are we going to support the Medicare program that provides health care for retirees? That's tragedy in and of itself. But the world is going to see something it has never seen before. It's going to see that the United States is no longer trustworthy, that we don't pay our bills, that we don't abide by the obligations that we freely took in this chamber. And even worse, Putin and Xi and the leadership of North Korea and Iran are going to say, look, democracy does not work. The greatest country, the supposedly greatest country in the world, won't pay its bills. Now, are we in this place because we don't have the money? Of course we're not. We've got the money. We're the richest, most powerful country in the world. We are in this place because my Republican colleagues have figured out that they have a perfect hostage situation. That if this Congress, and make no mistake, it is the Congress's obligation to raise the debt ceiling. It is not the president's obligation under the law. It is the Congress's obligation to raise the debt ceiling. They understand that if we don't raise the debt ceiling, catastrophe ensues. And so they have a list of ransom demands. And we saw it because it passed in this House 2 weeks ago. It would require veterans with mental illness to work in order to receive food stamps. It would reverse the historic measures that the Congress took to turn around the tragedy of climate change. We know what the ransom demands are. Now, I happen to disagree with those ransom demands, and we have a mechanism by which the Republican majority could pass those. Anybody who ever watched Schoolhouse Rock knows what that mechanism is. You pass it in the House, you pass it in the Senate, the president signs it, and you get your way. But of course they can't get their way because they understand that that list of ransom demands is deeply, deeply unpopular with the American people. So instead, they're saying, unless you do this stuff, Mr. President, Mr. Schumer in the Senate, we're going to destroy the global economy and the reputation of the United States of America. Now, am I being unfair in saying that it's a hostage situation? Let me quote my colleague from Florida, who yesterday said, and I quote him, I think my conservative colleagues for the most part support limit, save, and grow. That's, by the way, the ransom list. And they don't feel like we should negotiate with our hostage. Republican member of Florida. They don't feel we should negotiate with our hostage. Now, Democrats, because we feel some sense of obligation and responsibility to the full faith and credit and the dignity of the United States, didn't do this under Donald Trump. 3 times, Democrats acceded without a ransom list to a raise in the debt ceiling when Donald Trump was president. Donald Trump, when he was president, said this about the debt ceiling. Quote, that's a very, very sacred thing in our country, the debt ceiling. We can never play with it. Let me quote the Speaker of the House yesterday. The Speaker of the House says, when he is asked, what do the Democrats get in this negotiation? You get reversing climate change, you get work requirements for Medicaid and food stamps. What do the Democrats get? The Speaker said, we are going to raise the debt ceiling. Folks, the quiet part is being spoken out loud. This is a hostage situation. The implications here, and I try to make this case to my Republican friends, eventually we Democrats will learn from this level of irresponsibility, and the next time there's a Republican president, we will have a ransom list. Is this the way we want to legislate in the greatest country in the world? I don't think so. To illustrate how corrupt this enterprise is, how corrupt the reasoning is, here's what's happening. The Republicans passed the Trump tax cuts, $2 trillion in deficit addition. By the way, a full quarter of the national debt was accrued under one president, Donald Trump. A quarter. This country has a 245 years history. 1/4 of the debt was accrued in the 4 years of Donald Trump. So here's what's happening. We have a big old dinner We order the appetizers. We order the hors d'oeuvres. We order expensive wine. We order 4 courses. This is the spending and the tax cuts that this institution likes. And then we say, we're not paying the bill.
The gentleman's time's expired.
My friends, that doesn't work. Let's get past this debt ceiling insanity.